First time going to China? No, not really. It's my first time. I'm going out to try and drum up a little business.
Hey, Mitchell, you're on this flight?
Yeah, that's so funny. I'm working for Google now, overseeing the expansions into the Chinese user base.
Yeah, I'm still with the NBA, doing some press with the players to try to get more Chinese viewers.
Who else wants to go to China and get some of their money? Oh, for crying out loud.
Well, hello, kiddies. It's your friendly neighborhood watchman, here with you again over an article on Bounding into Comics, wherein Kevin Feige of Marvel Studios admits that if Marvel doesn't entertain first, their social messaging will fall on deaf ears. Can you believe that? At least he admits it. And this article is by John F. Trent, and we'll jump right into this right here. Marvel Studio boss Kevin Feige recently admitted that if the company stops putting entertaining the audience first as their goal, then the social messaging that they incorporate into their films will fall on deaf ears. We don't go to watch films, especially your films, being action-oriented and from comic books, for social messaging. Kevin Feige's admission came during an appearance on the Movie Business podcast with host Jason Squire, who asked him what the secret to Marvel Studios' success is. He wasn't pushing social messaging, if you remember 2008's Iron Man, but I digress. As part of his answer, Feige detailed how the company goes through postmortems where they examine what they could have done better after the release of each motion picture or television series. Yeah, they examine it in their own echo chamber. That's why they keep producing the slop that most of us don't care for. But anyway, to get back on target, he then detailed, quote, and I guess to distill it down of what lessons I learned is to entertain the audience at every turn, end quote. Wow. And this guy is the head honcho at Marvel. Sixth grader, a fifth grader even, can tell you that. What's the most important goal for a movie in relation to its audience? To entertain. Duh. Feige elaborated. Frank Capra has a quote that our co-president, Luis D'Esposito, quotes often, which is basically to distill down to entertain first. You can have as many beautiful messages, that's your opinion, and beautiful life theories and beautiful thematics that you want to put into the world that all of us do and all of our woke filmmakers do. But if you're not entertaining first, it will fall on deaf ears. I think that's always been the way, Feige added. Thankfully, you're making the kind of movies that you love to see that also goes into entertaining yourself, which is what we also try to do here at Woke Marvel Studios. A lovely trio that was. And that's why we got this crap. While Feige admits and claims that the main lesson the company has learned is to entertain the audience at every turn, and if you don't do so, their social indoctrination efforts will fail. The company's actions over recent years indicate they are much more interested in pushing their social indoctrination efforts and antagonizing audiences rather than entertaining. She-Hulk attorney-at-law actress Tatiana Maslany admitted, quote, to even exist as She-Hulk is like a f*** you, end quote. Isn't she sweet? Talks like a lady.
I'm a lady, and you don't disrespect no lady.
Speaking with Variety, following the conclusion of the show's first season on Disney+, Maslany was asked if she was expecting to face trolls when she signed on to become She-Hulk. She answered, reading the script, it was so true, there's so much resistance to a woman. Just existing in that space of superheroes, there's always going to be that. I sort of anticipated it. It's why I also feel it's important. There's such an entitlement to space held by certain people. And to even exist as She-Hulk is like a f*** you. And I love that, she added. This is a problem. This woman didn't even know what this character existed. I remember buying the first She-Hulk comic when I was in 8th grade. It was mostly us boys that bought these things. It wouldn't exist without us, but now we're somehow misogynist. It's such bullshit. Just tired of it. The show's head writer, Jessica Gao, also admitted that she really loves trolling the trolls. And we love trolling you idiots right back. As I say in baseball, you can't win in a war against the fans. And you know that if you weren't morons. When asked how it felt to predict what trolls would be saying about the show, Gao replied, "Our writer's room opened 3 years ago. The fact that we were able to predict what the reaction was going to be, what a lot of the trolling comments were going to be, really shows how very tired and unoriginal these trolls are." No, it's actually, so what's tired and unoriginal are your freaking indoctrination and social messages inside your films. There's just so many finite ways to react to the garbage you folks are producing. It's only a matter of time when it's gonna be a movie about a love story between Batman and Robin. It's like different company, but same old leftist agenda. She-Hulk Attorney at Law and its creators are not the only ones to eschew, or some people may pronounce it eschew, the idea of entertaining the audience. Thor Love and Thunder director Taika Waititi told audiences he planned on ruining the Thor mythos with the film when it was first announced that Natalie Portman would return in the role as Jane Foster. See now why? He's from New Zealand. He didn't grow up with Thor, reading comic books as I did and millions of kids like me did. So when something means nothing to you, you're not familiar with it, you have no connection to it, you don't care. So that's why he shits all over it. And that's why the left in general just craps over things and wants to change things and wants to race swap. And then when fans push back, they go back to their MO of calling people names, right? Racist and everything else. A Marvel Comics reader responded to Marvel Comics writer Jason Aaron, sharing his excitement that the gender-swapped Thor storyline he injected into the comics will get adapted to the big screen by Waititi. The user wrote, "It is due to your Marvel work that this mess is possible. Your writing ruined Thor, his mythos, and his character. So no, I do not want to see this film if we are truly getting a Jane Foster Thor." Waititi responded, "I'll ruin your mythos in a minute, baby." So again, Thor is a person, obviously based on the Norse mythology of gods. It is not a title to be passed down or to someone else, as with the Phantom, that old comic strip created by Lee Falk, when the father passes it on to the son. So no, Jane can't be Thor. Jane can have powers, whatever, it's all fiction after all, but she cannot be Thor. Well, and this guy that said the tweet, MB Mars 8, looks to be black, so they couldn't call him racist, right? They didn't throw down the race card there. Taika Waititi just answered with a bravado tweet. Feige himself has also previously revealed he eschewed the idea of entertaining the audience. First, in order to push social indoctrination programming when it came to WandaVision. Feige confirmed Doctor Strange was cut from the show, telling Rolling Stone, "Some people might say, oh, it would have been so cool to see Doctor Strange, but it would have taken away from Wanda. We didn't want the end of the show to be commoditized to go to the next movie. Here's the white guy. Let me show you how power works. That wasn't what we wanted to say," he added. To even think of this crap. Who goes to the movie thinking this? At the end, we're all thinking, Doctor Strange, oh, here's the white guy. He's going to show me and show us how power works from a white guy. I mean, that makes no effing sense, man. It's because they're obsessed with this crap. They are obsessed with race and sex, i.e. gender, with your sexual preferences, the color of your skin.
Stay on target.
And if you don't agree with them, well, you're a troll. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. Feige would also detail, I haven't talked about this before, but we had a deal with Benedict Cumberbatch to pop up at the end of WandaVision, or somewhere in WandaVision. He detailed, because we knew we wanted to connect them, Wanda's next appearance is in the second Doctor Strange movie, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And wouldn't it be great But as we worked on the show and on the movie, we realized there was no reason to really do that. The Marvel Studios head honcho also revealed that the reason Eternals was moved to the top of their list of films was due to the company's social engineering agenda. Can you believe that?
Damn!
Of course we would. We've seen it after how many years now? Their social engineering agenda is what drives them. It's no longer the Hollywood where you're just trying to entertain the people and make money while doing it. No, now you're trying to indoctrinate people while making money while doing it.
But I digress.
While addressing why the company decided to change the races, genders, and sexualities of nearly all the characters, Feige told Variety, well, the notion of switching up the genders, sexualities, and ethnicities of the characters from the comics was baked in initially. It's what we do. That was part of what Nate Moore was really advocating for in moving Eternals to the top of the list for us to start working on. The results from Marvel Studios eschewing the principle that Feige claims the company has learned has seen its more recent releases suffer at the box office compared to previous films. Ha ha he har har. Har har har! Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Woke Rings are three of the worst performing Marvel Cinematic Universe films of all time, without even factoring in Biden's inflation. Of the 30 films the company has released, only The Incredible Hulk and Captain America, the first Avenger, have lower global grosses. Sequel films such as Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Thor, Woke and Thunder did not perform nearly as well as the previous films in their respective franchises. The Disney Plus shows are also routinely beat by Netflix series in the ratings, and the more recent releases perform worse than initial ones, as seen with She-Hulk, Misandrist Attorney at Law. If anyone is to start taking Kevin Feige seriously again, he needs to actually start putting his money where his mouth is and delivering on what he's promising, because there's a mountain of evidence that shows Marvel Studios has not learned the lessons that you need to entertain the audience first. Forget first, just entertain the audience and cut that indoctrination crap out. We don't want your agendas. Rather, they seem to have learned the opposite. They will push their social messaging at the sake of entertaining the audience. What do you make of Feige's comment? Man, these guys ain't gonna change for squat. Maybe if they were on the verge of bankruptcy, they'll change all that around. But you know the thing is, we know they don't mean it. The cat's out of the bag. I mean, this shows you how these people really feel. This is how they feel. Because they're pushing this over entertainment. Some of them push it at the cost of profit. So to do an about face only because they would then be out of a job or their companies will fail doesn't mean they've learned anything. They haven't changed how they really feel. So folks, as sometimes I am wont to do, we shall read up on some of these comments. So first off is Mountain Spider. What's fascinating to me is that they actually think their message matters in the overall aspect of everything. It doesn't matter if it's entertaining. Nobody wants to be preached to. They still have not figured out we are not interested in the message. We want entertainment and accuracy. Whenever you insert a message into a story or a film, it damages the content. Give you a nice big fat like. Exactly. This is a mere medium for rancid message. Guest Eddie 7 says, message, emphasis on message, never needs to be more complicated than people having a bit of empathy and treating each other decently. What? From Andy Griffith to King of the Hill. It worked that way for decades. From A1 replies, we need to go back to those days of wholesome family entertainment. It would be nice. I would not hold my breath. From Starwind, that's the biggest problem in recent decades. These large companies feel it's their job to preach what they think is just and right. I work for a large company and they tirelessly push similar agendas as Disney, Marvel, and other large companies. People are tired of being preached to. Ooh, 34 double D.
on target.
Haven't been entertained by Marvel Studios product since 2019. Just been bored, disappointed, and turned off by the regressive agenda they're pushing. Kaboom! Andrew opines, did you notice that he talks about entertainment to get the message across? Not adding a message to entertainment to make sense of it? And Bunny with a keyboard replies, the way themes work in stories, the messaging you push is integral to a story. It's like trying to enjoy a romance if you despise the very concept of love. When a theme is toxic, the whole story will be too. Scott Gunn posts, well, he stumbled onto a symptom, meaning Feige, but remains fog-bound on the cause. Woke is a religion, a terrible one, when its adherents stuff yet another franchise with the message. It is an act of ritual worship of a nebulous and fickle god. Asking them to dial it down is like asking an Aztec priest to stop carving out the hearts of prisoners and offering them to the sun god. SJW's Arkansas replies, liberals/SJWs are all about good intentions and hashtag diplomacy. None of their propaganda is ever good or used for good. Everything they touch turns to ash. So folks, we'll leave that here. We can just keep going on forever with these comments. Now here's an interesting one from Gagny. Why does superhero shows need social messaging? It's quite clear an opposite message gets out instead. 1. Hate China communists, so Disney kowtows to them with Iger's return. 2. Hate slaves, so Disney films near a concentration camp. 3. Male actors obsolete, females waiting in the wings. 4. Movies are basically bait and switch. The superhero is a guest star in his own movie. A1 replies, so basically they're living in a bizarro world.
What am me?
Bizarro, that's what you am.
Mercy.
Yes. So folks, we'll end it here. What say you? How do you feel about what Kevin Feige admitted to with their social messaging, their indoctrination, and how they have to revert back to entertaining first before pushing their propaganda upon moviegoers? You know how I feel about it, and you know how these commenters feel about it. As usual, not one defended it. The majority is sick of it, but they don't seem to be getting the message, or they double down just to spite themselves because they're the ones who lose out in the end when their TV shows and films bomb. So with that said, folks, smash that like button, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so that you'll always be forewarned whenever I'm about to
Drop!
another video. And as always, stay safe, and I bid you peace.
等一下，你看看这个。
What is this, sir?
Oh, that's weed. Marijuana. You know.